Hey, welcome to Shift. I'm Elliot, and this is where we hit life's shortcut keys together. Look, you know the drill. On your computer, you've got these little magic combinations like Ctrl+C to copy or Ctrl+S to save your work. They're quick, they're efficient, and they fundamentally change how you interact with a system. Well, here on Shift, we're doing the same thing, but for the operating system of your life. Each shortcut is like a small reminder, a quick hack, a mental reset button for how we think, feel, and live. Because personal growth doesn't have to be a monumental overhaul. Sometimes it's just a simple, intentional shift. Today's shortcut is a classic, a real heavy hitter, Ctrl Alt Delete. And we're diving into a tough but necessary topic, the power of letting go of toxic relationships and ending unhealthy cycles. I gotta ask you, have you ever been stuck in a pattern with someone, a friend, a family member, or maybe a partner, where every single interaction feels like your mental processor is running at 100%, your fans are whirring, and your whole system is about to crash? You're giving, you're trying to fix things, but it just keeps looping back to the same energy-draining, self-doubting place? I have. Trust me, I have. We all have those relationships that feel less like a connection and more like a digital virus slowly corrupting your essential files. That feeling, that slow, grinding anxiety that makes you dread checking your phone, that's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to learn how to open the task manager of your life and finally force quit the processes that are draining your resources. So let's break down what Ctrl Alt Delete actually does on a computer. It's the ultimate panic button. When your machine freezes up, when a program stops responding, when your whole desktop is locked solid, you hit this key combo. It doesn't just close one window, it opens the Task Manager. The Task Manager is a powerful tool. It allows you to see everything that's running in the background. It shows you which processes are silently eating up your CPU and your memory, the resources you need to, function. And here's the critical part. It gives you the option to select that rogue application and hit End Task, a complete non-negotiable termination of that process. It's a reset. It's a clean slate. It's what you do when the normal X button just isn't working anymore. And that, my friends, is exactly what Ctrl Alt Delete means in the context of personal growth and mental wellness. In life, this shortcut is your reminder to perform a system-wide diagnostic. It's the moment you stop trying to minimize the window of an unhealthy situation and instead you open your Life Task Manager. It connects the dots between three critical mental steps: Control, Alt, and Delete. Control is the act of taking back control and regaining perspective. The Alt is the willingness to choose an alternate path or outcome. And Delete is the courage to end the task, to terminate the cycle or the connection that's harming you. It helps us stop asking, how do I fix this other person? And start asking, which process in my life do I need to end so I can run smoothly again? We're going to look at three major talking points about how to apply the shortcut and how to actually execute the End Task button without immediately regretting it. Number 1, control. Taking control with diagnostics. Identify the resource drain. The first step in using Ctrl Alt Delete is control. But before you can end a task, you have to find the resource hog. You need to identify exactly what makes a relationship or a cycle toxic. Toxicity isn't always drama and yelling. Often it's a steady, silent drain. It's the relationship that consistently makes you feel smaller, less capable, or permanently guilty. I had a friend in my late 20s who I'll call Dan. Dan was a great guy, but every time we hung out, he would call me up with some kind of emergency. Financial issues, relationship crises, you name it. The entire 2-hour conversation would be 100% focused on his immediate problem, with me offering advice, comfort, and sometimes even a little bit of money. I'd hang up, feel completely exhausted, and realize he hadn't asked a single question about me, my job, or what I was dealing with. Not one. It was like my mind was running a program called dansupport.exe, and it was constantly sitting at 98% CPU usage. The moment I truly hit control, taking control was when I stopped justifying his behavior and just looked at the data. How do I feel 30 minutes after I hang up? If the answer is drained, resentful, or lighter in the wallet, that's your rogue process. Your challenge here is to create a simple diagnostic. Write down 3 relationships or habits that consistently make you feel worse than before they started. Number 2, Alt, the alternate path. Stop the endless loop. When a program freezes, the reason you can't just click the X button is because the process is stuck in a loop. It's waiting for a response it's never gonna get. In life, this loop is the most common feature of toxic relationships, the hope that they will change. You keep trying the same input, more compassion, clearer communication, setting better boundaries, and you're waiting for the output, an apology, true reciprocation, or real effort, but the program is frozen. It's not running the function you're asking it to run. The Alt step is the recognition that the only way to break the loop is to choose an alternate path. You must change your input. As a parent, I see this all the time. My 3-year-old Lucy gets into these cycles where she'll refuse to put on her shoes. I'll try bribing her, then pleading, then maybe a little yelling. That's a toxic cycle, right? It drains both of us, and it never works. The Alt path isn't forcing the shoes, it's changing my reaction. It's saying, okay, I see you're not ready for shoes yet. You have 2 minutes to play with your stuffy, and then we put them on. I've stepped out of the emotional loop of the power struggle and chosen a different interaction. For a toxic relationship, the Alt path is choosing to change the topic, change the frequency of contact, change the level of intimacy you share. Or, yes, choose a completely different life without that dynamic. You stop feeding the frozen process the same energy. Number 3, delete, the courage to end task, force quit. This is the hardest and most feared part. When you terminate a process in Task Manager, you get a warning. If you end this program, you will lose unsaved data. This is where the fear comes from. We worry we'll lose memories, history, shared friends, or future possibilities. But here's the truth about force quitting a toxic cycle. You're not deleting the past, you are deleting the future drain it represents. If you have a relationship, or even just a weekly habit that consistently causes anxiety, that you've identified as a resource hog, you have to weigh the cost of unsaved data against the value of regaining your entire system's functionality. Psychological research, especially around self-compassion, shows that healthy boundaries aren't just about protecting yourself from others. They're an act of self-kindness. When you repeatedly let a toxic dynamic continue, you're essentially telling yourself, my well-being is less important than maintaining this broken connection. Hitting end task is your way of saying, my system integrity comes first. It doesn't have to be a dramatic relationship-ending explosion. It can be a quiet, non-confrontational drift. It can be a hard, honest conversation. The method depends on the process. For instance, with my friend Dan, my delete wasn't a huge argument. It was setting a heart boundary. Hey, I can't take on problems right now. I'm available to grab a beer, but I need us to talk about non-crisis stuff. He got quiet, and then he just faded. It hurt for a week, but the mental space I got back was immediate and massive. My CPU usage dropped to 10%. I could finally run the processes I needed to run. Remember, the purpose of Ctrl Alt Delete is reallocation of resources. You are freeing up the energy that was spent managing a faulty process so you can redirect it to what truly matters: your goals, your passions, and the people who actually charge your battery. All right, so how do we actually apply this Ctrl Alt Delete framework in real life without turning into a cold boundary-setting robot? Here are a few quick steps you can apply right away, even in small ways. Number 1, the 10-minute boundary. When a draining conversation starts, give yourself a mental timer, 10 minutes. When that time is up, use a simple, non-negotiable exit script. Something like, "Hey, I'm so sorry. I've hit my mental bandwidth limit for the day, but I'll check in with you later." You are choosing the alternate path by changing the parameters of the interaction. Number 2, the control log. For 1 week, keep a small note in your phone or a journal. After every interaction with the person you suspect is draining you, simply put a plus sign if you feel better, or a minus sign if you feel worse. Don't analyze, just track the data. The goal is control, to see the facts clearly. A relationship that is consistently 80% negative is a clear candidate for end task. Number 3, the pause before response. Before replying to a text or a call from a known source of anxiety, hit your internal task manager. Ask yourself, do I have the mental energy for this right now? If the answer is no, you are fully entitled to hit snooze or wait. This is a small delete of the immediate pressure, allowing you to respond on your terms. Keep it simple. No need to overthink it. Small steps of control, alternate paths, and termination add up to massive systemic change. Here's your challenge for the week, if you're up for it. This one is all about getting comfortable with the final delete step. Your challenge this week is to force quit one non-essential yet draining commitment. This might not be a person. It could be a useless monthly committee meeting you hate. It could be a newsletter you never read but feel guilty unsubscribing from. It could be a social media app that always leaves you feeling stressed. Find one low-stakes but consistent drain. Craft a simple exit email, hit unsubscribe or delete the app, and then feel the immediate wave of relief. It's practice for the bigger things. It's like clearing a small bit of RAM so your system can breathe. You are successfully executing Ctrl Alt Delete on a small piece of your life. Do it within 48 hours of listening to this episode. Don't let it become another process running in the background. Thanks for hanging out with me today on Shift. This was a heavy one, but necessary. Remember, you have the right to a functional, high-performing life. You are the administrator of your own system, and you are the only one with the permissions to open the task manager and end task on what's hurting you. Don't be afraid to take control. If this episode clicked for you, make sure to subscribe, share it with a friend who might be dealing with a rogue process of their own, and keep pressing those mental shortcut keys in life. Next time, we'll be exploring a slightly gentler key combination, Control H. That's Control plus the letter H, and we're going to talk about how it can help us with healing childhood wounds, finding the things we've hidden away, and bringing them to the surface. Until then, keep it light, keep it real, and remember, sometimes all you need is a little shift.